So this is one of my new Mustangs, Denali. He is not going to be a classic makeover horse because I actually had got him in July, and he's actually was a sale authority horse, which means that you basically get a bill of sale, and versus if you adopt them with the BLM, there's a year where you could return the horse if you needed to for whatever reason, because then you get your title at the end of that year. But with the sale authority horses, that's not the case. It's a bill of sale, and we're kind of one and done. But he came to my friend's facility, and he looked like a really nice horse. And I decided to name him Denali because he was one of the tallest ones. And he is from the Twin Peaks herd, which is the same as my previous Mustang Zephyr. So I'm really a big fan of that herd. So I've done a little bit of work kind of with the group of mine that I got, and doing a lot of approach and retreat and touching their noses and stuff. But this is kind of his first time in a solo session, and my main priority in this is he actually had a pretty good bump on his eye. It was all swollen and looked like he had injured it somehow. So I'm hopeful that I can get some medicine in it because eyes are kind of no joke. So I'm going to work on a little bit of feel here, getting him to come off the pressure of the halter, and I'm going to be pretty clear. And kind of the resistance I give is just the resistance against him. And he's going to pull me a little bit, but I'm going to just stay steady and calm. He likes to be in that corner there. You can see his buddies there right next to the water trough. There was kind of another rope on the ground that I didn't want to get in the way. So I'm going to see if I can send him away from this corner. He likes to put me in a drive line. Some horses get really worried about when you're walking kind of back behind them. Now I make sure I have space so I'm not getting kicked. But I'm going to adjust the camera here for a second. He didn't seem to mind that. Because he does like to kind of put me in that drive line, that means I need to teach him to kind of yield his haunches away so he doesn't get into a habit of dragging me. So that is something to be very, very mindful of. And so he did that and yielded to me a little bit there. So I took the kind of opportunity I wanted to fix the lead rope. It was only on one of the loops. And a lot of this I do based on feel, kind of at the moment, in the moment of time. I moved him around for a little bit, and now I'm going to work on kind of assessing his eye. He's letting me kind of in his space right now, so I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of eye ointment in there. And I did not want this session, I wasn't going to try to work him too much. I just wanted to try to be able to dress that eye, because again, like, he's probably a little concerned about it on the right side, so there's only so much we can do. But just so I can get in and handle him a little bit more was really the goal. So just working here on a little bit of touch. He's pretty good about me touching his forehead, and now I'm just working down the neck. And I had a couple of alfalfa cubes in my pocket, and he seemed to kind of want to try to figure that out, so that was really good. He was actually fine with my hand placement near his mouth. Sometimes they can be pretty funny about that. I've had previous Mustangs like Dior who really had to learn to take a cookie. So that was a really nice positive response from him there. So I like to use a lot of positive R in conjunction with pressure as well. I think it's important for them to kind of know both, and each horse responds very differently as well. So it's kind of tailoring it to each horse. And you see here, I sped it up a little bit because this was just a lot of nice slow work, touching and little retreats. I'm going to see if I can get him to yield off that halter just a little bit. And then he wants to kind of go back. So I'm going to send the pressure. So we keep walking past our favorite little corner there, and I'm going to see if I can get a yield. See the change in my body language. I really need him to push his haunches away and follow the pressure of the halter. And he is pretty good. Like, he's wanting to try to figure this out. He's almost giving me too much flexion in his neck, versus I would rather him just cross over his hind leg. And he's, at that point, he's trying to drag me a little bit back to that corner. So I'm going to put pressure on him here. We had a whoopsie moment, but I want to be able to make him move a little bit forward when I ask, and then he softened off the halter. So I just stayed calm in the moment, asking him for a little bit of movement to kind of get out of that corner there, and then that's where we had a little bit of a hi-ya moment, but then he settled right back down. And after I got that nice disengagement of the hind end, I'm just going to go back here to doing a little bit more of the slow work. And I'm actually sped this up for you guys because I was working on taking off his tag and just spending a lot of time just doing that nice and slow. So removed his tag. He's officially not just a number anymore. He's pretty good. Like, even though he has the bum eye on the right side right now, he's not being too defensive on that right side. So I just wanted to do a little bit of touch work. And again, I sped it up. But just so I can see if I can get him comfortable with me being in his space. So there was a little bit of, he decided he wanted to move and put me in that drive line spot. But now we're getting some really good disengagement of the hind end and following the halter. So that was really nice. And he's also got a bunch of burrs in his forelock. So you can see I'm kind of just trying to break it up. I'll make him move around a little bit, and then I spend a little time kind of gussying over him a little bit, and then we may do a little bit more movement, but just kind of breaking it up a little bit. So I'm trying to get all these burrs out of his forelock as well, because if he rubs it all and he can injure his eye, I kind of don't want that to happen. So I was able to get most of the burrs out. And then I'm working on here, doing a little bit of kind of like the facial massage. They have a lot of those facial nerves and acupuncture points kind of right in front of the eyes. And I find that if I do that, they tend to enjoy that and relax a little bit. So giving him a release here. Got some nice lick and chew. And again, I'm doing a lot of this on the feel, how his body is feeling, how his tension is. He seems to be handling this quite well. Even though he wants to lift here and kind of block me, I just use my hand a little bit, or rather my arm, to kind of keep the nose off to the left side. Because he's kind of like, hey, I'm not sure about you being over there. I'm not sure about that. So I'm just saying, it's all right. It's not a big deal. I'm just going to push you back a little bit. and just kind of hold that little block with my arm there. I'm getting him used to me moving his mane around.
He's trying to crawl in that bucket.
Kind of all those things. And meanwhile, he's getting used to me kind of being in that little bit closer range. And now I'm going to go back. He got a little worried. I gave him a little bit of a rub and gave him a break. So now, since he is letting me, I'm going to try to see if I can really look at his eye and assess it. And I was able to see where he, in fact, like had hit his actual eye. There was a little bit of a indent on the eyeball. So it was really important that I was able to get I use a polymyxin eye med. That's a cream that works really, really well. And I had like just a little bit of an old tube left, and so the first time I did this I got just a smidgen, and so now this is the second time seeing if I can get a good bit in there, because again, with eyes you really need to try to adjust them as soon as possible. But I'm starting to rub, and he seems to really kind of enjoy the rubbing of his eye right there and starts to really relax. He just kind of melted a little bit there, like, oh, okay, you're helping me. Now he's starting to open up a bit.
Thank you.
And even with the dump truck, we had dump trucks kind of going back and forth,
Like, I don't
putting
feel
in what will
good.
be the new arena, but he didn't really seem to mind. So I really was hopeful that I could get a fly mask on him. He seemed to be handling everything really well. Just to protect that eye and to keep the bugs out, and also to help with the UV rays. It can really make a difference. So I'm just introducing him to the fly mask, and here you can kind of see how he's not really willing to open that poor little eyeball. So I'm gonna just he's doing a really great job. He's a very nice, very well-minded horse. Kind of takes everything in stride. And so the goal sometimes with the fly mask is just getting it to where they can actually see through it. So he handled that really well. He's actually letting me just hook it over his cute little ears, and boom, we got the fly mask on. So that was actually easier than expected. But this should do a lot of help for protecting that eye and giving it the opportunity to heal. And yeah, I was really, really pleased I was able to get that done.
Now I can't see your eyes or read you, so we're done.
So it was a successful session for him, and I'm just gonna let it kind of be right there, and hopefully that eye will be feeling better for tomorrow, and we'll be moving forward.
Everywhere.